Hey, it's me, the Rhino, Survival Skills 101. Could the zombie apocalypse actually happen? You know, we read books and watch TV shows and watch movies on the zombie apocalypse and whether it could really take place. Well, I want to tell you about one way that the zombie apocalypse could happen. Please, may I have your attention? You know, my favorite show is The Walking Dead, and if you have ever watched The Walking Dead, you know that a virus has plagued mankind and it kills people, and those dead people come back reanimated as zombies, and they go after live humans and try to kill them too. And the group of people are running around killing zombies and discussing what the meaning of life is. Is there a virus that could actually replicate something out of The Walking Dead? Yes, there is, and that virus is known as rabies. Now, everybody's heard of rabies, and a lot of people think rabies is no big deal. Well, you know what? Rabies typically isn't a big deal. The reason is because it's very hard to spread. Now, rabies can be transferred to any mammal in the world, including those in the sea. And when the doctors would say that it is no big deal, unless it were able to go airborne. All right, that is the only reason why they don't think that rabies is the most lethal virus known to man, is because it can't go airborne. Now, what rabies does is you get infected by the bite or the scratch, or get slobbered on by somebody infected with rabies. And what happens is, over time, it starts to infect your brain. And when it infects your brain, that's when the symptoms start. Now, the symptoms of rabies start out with a feeling of anxiety. Then it moves on to flu-like symptoms. You get a sore throat, you cough, you don't feel good, you just want to lay down all the time. And what happens is it starts to progress and progress. You have trouble swallowing, and that trouble swallowing makes you want to drink. The only problem is rabies starts to turn your personality different, and you have actually a fear of water, but you have trouble swallowing and you have a fear of water, and what happens is that starts to build up mucus from what water that you have left, and that causes the foaming of the mouth. So when you see rabies is foaming, it's because they're afraid of water, they don't want to drink it, they're scared of it completely, yet at the same time their throat hurts so much to swallow that they have to swallow, and it produces that phlegm and mucus, and it starts to come out of their mouth. Not a pretty sight. Like I said, personality changes, and then what happens, paranoia sets in, and then violent behavior. You start to have hallucinations like people are out to get you. And a totally nice person, someone totally sweet who's never had a problem in their entire life, will become totally and completely vicious and start killing somebody. Now, the only reason that this doesn't really happen and virus doesn't, get out of control, again, is because it doesn't go airborne. If it started to go airborne, where somebody would to breathe on you and you got it in your lungs, and several people started getting it, society wouldn't really know what happens, because the only way to diagnose rabies is through an autopsy. So somebody literally has to die, and they cut open their brain and they go, oh wow, look, it's rabies. But by that time, if people are infected and then they start attacking each other, it would just completely start a domino effect. And here's what I mean. 2 or 3 people in one area starts to get rabies, which I tell you this, when they diagnose that and they find out 2 or 3 people have rabies, scientists will start freaking out because they know the ramifications of this. So 2 or 3 people start to get rabies, they go starting attacking other people start to get it, and eventually these symptoms come on, and people are starting to attack one another. Society will, the officers, police officers, fire department people could get bit as well. Emergency service personnel could get bit as well. And eventually they would diagnose it as rabies. Widespread panic would happen, and people would start not going to their jobs. They would start staying home, is what I mean to say. So when they start staying home, society starts to break down, because basically people are scared to go out because they don't want to get bit by these zombies. And along with that, people are getting attacked on the street, and it would be a complete and utter chaos. And that would lead, again, to the spiraling down of society and the domino effect of more rabies cases being transferred to one another. Like I said before, there would be a huge snowball effect of people who would start to get rabies because the virus has gone airborne. Well, here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. There's not enough vaccine to go around for everybody. They only have probably, I would say, maybe 100, 1,000, 2,000 vaccines, doses of vaccine to go around for everybody because, rabies doesn't get transmitted all that easily. All right, let's just face it. But if it goes airborne and lots of people start to get it, and the CDC does an autopsy and finally figures out that it's rabies, and they start to give the vaccine out, well, there's not enough to go around. So who's going to get the vaccine? Is it going to be first responders? Is it going to be our politicians? Is it going to be really rich people? Well, it really doesn't matter because there's not enough to go around in the first place. It takes about a year for production to start ramping up. Well, in that time, people are going to start getting rabies, and when it reaches a certain point, people are just going to die. The vaccination doesn't work, and they deteriorate, and they finally die. So they have to catch it early enough, and since there's not enough vaccine, I guarantee you over time millions of people in our society will die simply because there's nothing they can do when they didn't have the vaccine soon enough. So how could this really happen? Rhino, how could rabies go airborne? Really, that's just not very realistic. Well, what if, and I'm being a conspiracy nut here, what if some government around the world has been working on rabies and trying to mutate it into some kind of special weapon to be used in war? Is that too far-fetched of an idea that they're working on something like that? And what happens if maybe that rabies accidentally escapes from the lab? Or what's worse, what happens if a terrorist organization decides that they're going to spread rabies around to start some kind of terrorist episode? And the unintended consequences is that they would have a debilitating effect on our society. Now, let me just point out one thing. Not everybody is going to get rabies. Not everybody is going to be attacked. So the airborne molecules that are going to be ingested by you just possibly might not have an effect. Why? Because in every population of species, there are those that are immune from the virus. And that immunity is what is going to save Earth. All right? Now, millions and millions of people might die, and finally, the people who might have immunity might not be affected by this. And that very fact that they're not affected by this will keep our species going on. Isn't that great news? I wonder if you're immune. I wonder if I'm immune. Oh well, I hope I never have to find out. So there you go. Rabies. That could be the Walking Dead virus that could really hurt our society. The only trouble is, it's got to go airborne. Could it go airborne? Let's ask the government. I'm suddenly not feeling well. I'm just kidding, it's whip topping. Hey, if you like what we're doing, subscribe to our channel. Please give us a like. Share us with your friends, man. We're just having a good time here. Anyway, for Survival Skills 101, I'm your buddy the Rhino. Just playing with a little whip topping. Are you prepared to look forward?